Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So today we're going to be talking about our comfort zones. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm going to talk about comfort zones. We need to talk about these things because we land hard on them, don't we? That's our big comfy couch. That's that big glass of wine, and it's Netflix for days. And it's the phone. We scroll. We go on social. It's the games. It's the endless comfort of what we're seeking in order to avoid the rest of the stuff in our house. Even if our house looks like a bomb went off, even if we haven't, we bought all the groceries and we haven't made the stuff that we need to make for the detox or the sprint or whatever it is, we do that. There is a big time disconnect. So we got to get out of that and get into the place of understanding that the price we pay is our comfort, really. It is our comfort. Because there are two pains, we know about that. There are two pains. There is the one of regret, which is huge, and boy, that's attached to a lot. And you want to hear about regret? You should have been there, a little fly on the wall, listening to the conversation that I had with my mother, just a little bit before she died, talking about how she wished she'd never picked up a cigarette. Yeah? Have you ever been with someone who is passing away from COPD, that slow, arduous strangulation and loss of breath, suffocation? It's not pretty. There's a huge regret that came with that. Regret is huge, and regret is something that looms, and sometimes we get to the place of, it's just, there's no return. Or you can pay the price of doing something that you don't really want to do, but you do it anyway just for the sake of getting it done, and then having the victory to swim in afterwards and to be pretty proud of yourself. That's the kind of pain that I'm hoping that you're going to choose instead of the great big ugly one. But I want to talk about some of this stuff that we get caught in, because as easy as it is to say there's the pain of regret and there's the pain of following through, there's also some dynamics that are all behind it. And I want to talk about that a little bit, maybe to help you. I know it's helped me to understand a little bit better, so what I can do, the things that I need to do. This is important. The first thing is that we have to understand that it's really easy to have all this ambition without having the follow-through to go with it. Oftentimes the follow-through is a little bit more than planning. It's also a little bit of an adjusting with our mindset. It isn't just a matter of putting it on the calendar or planning for it or whatever. If it was just a matter of sheer mechanics, good grief, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs, wouldn't we? To quote, what was his name? CD Baby, the guy who was the inventor of CD Baby, which is probably not even a thing anymore. But anyway, that was his big quote, and I remember at the time hearing it was a cosmic 2x4, because we all know the things, we don't put them into practice, and that's the thing. So it's easy to have ambition without the follow-through. We know that. But we have to do several things so that we can start putting ourselves in the place where we're willing to let go of the comfort and take on something new, take on something different, take on something that puts us out of our comfort zone. And these are the things that I want to talk about. This is some of the stuff that's come from my reading over the weekend, a couple of podcasts that I listened to, and let's just call it a big amalgamation, shall we? But that makes the best soups, doesn't it? I think so. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I hope it all makes sense for you. Let's just kind of unpack it a little bit. Number one, we got to start thinking like investors instead of lottery winners. Because think about this, what does an investor do? You give an investor $100, he's going to think of a way to take that $100, diversify it a little bit, and invest it in certain different things to make more out of what he already has. That's what investors do. What does a lottery winner do? Well, they take all that money and they squander it usually. That's what the research tells us. They take it, they give everybody money that they know, they buy lavish cars and houses and do trips, then all of a sudden they're out of money. Why? Because they have the mind of a big winner without having the skill set to follow up on how an investor would take this winnings and do something different with it. And I'm going to talk about a little bit later why that happens, and let's see if maybe you fall into that whole place. But let's start thinking like investors in our lives instead of lottery winners and just letting it go. I think this is one of the things that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks because I've certainly been on this carousel of crazy, and that is what, as investors, if we invest in ourselves, we stay the course, don't we? We stay the course and we see the up and downs and we keep going. We keep going. But if we don't and we act like this is just the big lottery, this is what happens to us when we lose the weight and then all of a sudden saying, yeah, a little bit of ice cream won't hurt. Yeah, I'll have that pasta over here. And yeah, bread and butter. I'm at a restaurant. It's a special occasion. Next thing you know, back it all comes. That's right. And I know that because we have to be investors in our lives, not lottery winners. Number two, you have to understand your own old stuff pushback. Now I'm going to give it an acronym, OSP, because we all have it. We have our old stuff that pushes us back that says, hey, this is what we do. This is who we are. Because what is this old stuff coming from? What's it built on? Well, it's built on old information. It's built on old programming. It's built on what you've always done. It's all built on stuff that is no longer applicable for a life that's going to grow, change, and become the vibrant life that you want. We get the old stuff pushed back. But wait. This is what we always do. But wait, it's just this once. But wait, you don't have time for this. But wait, right? OSP. Isn't this so good? You know it. You hear it. So do I. I can do it later, right? That's one of the biggest. Old stuff pushback, old stuff procrastination, put it off, make it later. Don't take care of it now. Get your old stuff pushed back. And yours looks different than mine. We all have our own customized plan built on whatever reasons we have, but it does push us back. And we try to think logically and, okay, yeah, I'll do that later. And how many times have we done it later? Only to do it again the next day and again the next day after that, and it's just on repeat. We have the same goal, and it's not happening. Or, we've seen old stuff push back with, okay, I'm all in. I'm going to do the sprint. Then we get off the sprint. 3 weeks later, we put on all the weight that we just took off, and we're starting over. Can you say carousel of crazy? I knew you could. Because that's what old stuff pushback is. That's what keeps us there. That's what holds us back. It's comfortable. It's easier. It gives us a rationale. It gives us an excuse. We bow out of not having to do it just then. And, the other thing is our integrity takes a ding, doesn't it? Because we don't hold the promises to ourselves. If we can't keep promises to ourselves, how on earth are we going to keep promises to others if our word is so flimsy? And we got to start looking at that. It's always easy to find an easy excuse when you allow old stuff pushback, OSP, to rule the roost. We all have it. It's all in the back of our mind. Actually, it could be in the front of our mind. It could be operating on full tilt, prefrontal cortex, and back in our monkey mind. It's just ready to pounce because it's easy, it's known, it's old, and it is really super simple to drum that back up. Very easy. As a matter of fact, most of the time we don't even have to think about it. It just pops up. Here I am, right? Surprise! Or not. Number 3, you got to train your brain to do what you want. Because otherwise, you are going to be used by your brain instead of your brain using it. We understand this with the reticular activating system. And I love what Tony Robbins says, energy flows where your attention goes and results follow, right? True. And that's why when our attention is pushed into this place, like getting sucked into the news all the time, or sucked into hours and hours of Netflix, or sucked into whatever it is, that's where our energy is going to go. And the results of that are going to be that we're thinking about those things, right? Because that's what where our energy is going. We're not putting our energy and our time into building the things that we want. We're putting our energy and time into things that aren't giving us the results that we want in our own lives. And it's especially frustrating when we're spending so much time on stuff like the news, or this person did this and this person did. We spend all that time on that, and what is it giving us back in return? It's giving us a smack in the face. You want that good life? No, you're not going to have that vibrant life you want. You're going to start thinking about Breaking Bad episodes when you're laying in bed at night. Forget about it. Where your energy goes, where your focus goes, your energy flows. We don't want that. If we want more than that, then we've got to shift it. And that means getting out of the comfort zone. And the comfort zone always, it wants to hold us. Here's your comfy couch, your big glass of wine. This is me I'm talking about, right? This is what I want. This is where I go to the comfort place. And it's just like, oh yes, I've earned this. I've worked hard all week, you know? And then what happens? I go to bed and I'm thinking, I shouldn't have had that second glass of wine. Or I'm thinking, I'm starting to go to sleep. That was a really disturbing scene in Breaking Bad. I didn't like it. It made me feel uncomfortable. And now I'm thinking about it instead of trying to go to sleep. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I don't want any of that. I don't want the effect of that extra glass of wine, or maybe even any wine at all. I don't want the effect of thinking about a fictional thing that makes me feel bad. That doesn't make any sense, but we do it in the name of comfort. And what does that do for us? Nothing is the answer to that. So use your brain. Use your brain. Don't let it lose you. Think about it. Ask yourself questions. Is this supporting the life that I want to lead? Is it? Is all this Netflix, is this wine, is this couch, is sitting on my butt for hours, is this going to support the life that I want to lead? That's the question you need to ask yourself, and you're the one who can answer it. Number 4 is that your feelings create a false truth sometimes. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Well, this is how I feel about it. This is what I want to do about it. And this is what I know. This is what I feel. Therefore, this is what it's going to be. Have you noticed that? How that backs you into a corner, and it also puts you into that negative loop. This is what I know. I'm fearful. This is why I'm fearful. I'm going to stay fearful. This is why I'm not going to do anything else except stay in fear. Negative, 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 and nothing gets done. You don't get out of the negative loop by continuing to stay in the negative place. You have to do the pancake diet. We talked about that on Saturday. Flip those feelings, flip those behaviors, flip those desires. That's what a vibrant life is. A vibrant life is the life that you imagine. It's the life that you see yourself living. It is a vibrant vision of what could be if only you allow yourself to think in those terms. That's the stuff that you should be thinking about. Those are the things that you should be dwelling about. This is the vibrant vision board you should be making for yourselves and the goals to support it. I got mine on my wall over here. Bright and big. I'm looking at them on a daily basis. Look at it daily. See it, feel it, think about it. Those things. And then the habits to support that come as you put them together in your day, in your routines, on a daily basis. It is that simple. And it is also that hard, because it means that you have to sidestep the comfort zone in order to get there. So there's also this other gap. I hate to tell you about it, but I'm going to tell you about it because there's 2 gaps in your life. I've talked to you about the gap, the big gap of from being here to going there. And that's the gap is building a bridge so that you can accomplish that big vision. That's what it is. It's building a bridge. Goals, doing, having, thinking differently, all the things that we do, all the tools that we put in there, and lining them up, losing weight, hydrating, moving, meditating, getting rid of the stress, all These are all the tools. They're all the wood. This is the wood that you're hammering to build your own bridge to get to there. And part of the secret sauce of this whole thing is understanding that the journey, the construction, the making of this bridge is part of the whole thing. It's your journey. And that's the thing that needs to be embraced, so that when you do get to that goal, you do get to that vibrant vision that you have of yourself, you can see the work that you did, you can be proud of it, you can live in that, and, you know, not your stick. Not your stick, for heaven's sakes. Make it so that it happens. You know, as you do that, as you build that bridge, you get to hold on to all of that experience that led you to there. It's an amazing thing. But there's another one. And there's the knowing versus doing gap. Is that a bomb or what? Here come the truth bombs. Because we know what we're supposed to do, and then there's the actual doing of it over here, and there's a bridge that goes there, which is, I wrote it out, I planned for it, I actually did it. The clock went off. It's time to get up and go and work out. It's time to get up and make my bone broth for next week. It's time to get up. It's time to create a grocery list. It's time to do the things that I said I'm going to do, so I can be honest and in integrity with myself. Because if we're so easy to just dismiss it, you know, day 4 of the sprint, well, I'm going to have just a little bit of this. Well, just a little bit of cheese. Well, just this much. That's not going to help. That's not going to hurt me. If I eat half of that, I'm good, right? Stay the course. Stay in your integrity. Keep your word. Because knowing and doing is a small gap if you just decide that your integrity is at stake here. Everything is at stake. Who you are shows up in what you do, not what you say. What you do. And we're talking 7 days. 7 days to be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. This is a big deal. And this is why I say this about that the sprint is such a game changer. It teaches you about yourself, what you're capable of, what you can do. Because it's not just about it's getting rid of the inflammation, right? Yeah, it's getting rid of the inflammation. And guess what? We have inflammation in our brains because we think dumb things. We all do. We think dumb things based on old things that aren't serving us at all. So if we can get to this place and understand that our knowing versus our doing are two different things and build that bridge, it's a tiny bridge when you stay in integrity, by the way, because integrity builds the bridge. Integrity makes you follow through. Integrity says, I will keep the promises that I made to others and to myself, because you count. Big time. And then the other thing is, I'm going to tell you this because this is one of the things that completely changed my life. It's a cosmic 2x4. If you can just allow it to marinate a little bit in your heart and in your brain. Here's the thing. You don't get there by how, you get there by what if. Okay? You don't get there by how, you get there by what if. Do you know how many people I have had this conversation with, coaching clients and other people who are, in my life and what have you. It's like, well, how are we going to do that? How's that supposed to work? How do you think that this could be? That's impossible. How? And you how yourself to death. You're howing yourself into a corner because how doesn't have any solutions. How just says, see, I told you so. See how stupid this is? See, you're just full of pipe dreams and crazy. When what if opens the door to the amazingness of your imagination. What did Anne Shirley say about the imagination, about your imagination? Can't remember it now. But the richness of your imagination. What if? What if? It's such a glorious question. And it completely changes the dynamic of how you think about things because it offers possibility. How puts you into a corner and it doesn't give you an opportunity to even think about it. Just, okay, you're right. Hands up, you're right. It's impossible. But I will tell you this, the hows start to show up all by their little selves, like little tiny elves, like magic sprinkles from the sky when you open the door to What If. Because when What If enters your house, all of a sudden there's this idea and then there's this idea. And those ideas all point to house. Yes, they do. But they give you permission to create in your mind a new way of doing something you may have never thought of before because you were so stuck on how. This is the beauty of What If. It's one of my favorite things. So if we're going to pay the price for comfort, we are also going to pay the price for results. Yes, we are. And when we exchange our comfort instead for doing, we start to create the bridges that we need to create from knowing to actually doing, and getting on that bridge of what our journey is all about. Because our journey is the thing that teaches us. We learn something by hammering our own nails. You know, Mark's upstairs right now. He knows that I'm having this show, so it's not, loud. But he's upstairs laying more wood floor in our bedroom. And as he's laying it, he was absolutely exhausted last night. I gave him a ton of InflaCrusher, by the way. I gave him 4. It really helped. And I also gave him a big back rub after all of that. I mean, he was, poor man, on his knees. But he's doing it himself out of the want and the need to make this right, to make it happen. He's taking his time. He's measuring everything. And they told him, be prepared for 10% waste. Well, not the way he's doing it. He's got all the little pieces out. He's had about 1% waste. When you do things yourself and you're the one hammering literally the nails and creating your own bridge, you're going to learn things about yourself you never knew. You're going to see things in yourself that light you up. And you're going to be very proud of yourself at the very end of this, because not only are you going to hit your goals, not only are you going to have that vibrant life that you want, but you're also going to be looking back and just loving every step that you took on that bridge that you constructed yourself. You did it yourself. There's something to be proud about that. That's not arrogance. That's accomplishment right there. That's victory. That's having dominion over yourself. I love what Lizzie just said, that she is, what did you just say, Lizzie? I'm in a place of contentment. Yep. Contentment comes when we take the time to figure out our own idiosyncrasies. We all have them. But I call them in a big basket comfort, because it's what's known. We have to be willing to get into the world of the unknown. And I promise you, God's got your back. He's not going to let you fall. And you got a community. You've got me. You've got all of us. All of us have your back for support, for encouragement, for the chutzpah to keep going, never ever stopping, and never quitting on yourself. This is what happens when you're willing to pay the price for comfort, and you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, and you're willing to say, yes, here I go. Vibrant life all the way, 100% in. How about that? You ready to do that? I am. I appreciate you guys. I think you're the best. The best. Appreciation doesn't cover it, really. Great appreciation. If I can do anything for you, you know how to get a hold of me. I appreciate your support, all of your orders. You know that. I write on every single one of those order invoices and let you know that I appreciate you. Pray for every single one of you. And thank you for supporting this little woman-owned business. It means everything to me. It really does. Peace be with you. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.